Yeah, Hassan.
Hello, Eddie. Hello, everyone.
So, for the last week, have you finished your presentation or haven't? Because I didn't join the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I did actually. There were other things that we could have talked about, but I mean, I already conveyed what I was planning to.
Okay, good. I think like a lot from the meeting minutes, which Shai helped me to prepare. It seems like we haven't finalizing the FR, like I say, handling part, which Donna was asking, right?
I did not get which FRR handling part you're referring to, Eddie.
I think that Donna was suggesting there's some periodically sync between the releases because today we.
You mean to say FRR upgrade? FRR upgrade, right?
Yeah, great. So
yes, so so Adam is also here. Yes, we did talk about this in the last meeting, and we had an AI to come up with a proposal and get it approved in this routing work group. And once we have finalized here, we can go to the TSC.
Okay, that'd be great. Let's wait for a couple of minutes and let more people to join. I see that Donna is also here, and Praveen will not be joined today. He has something, so let's see who else. Let's probably wait for a little bit. I see Adam's also here.
Yeah.
Hi, Eddie. Hey, guys.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah. So yeah. So we did prepare a proposal. You know, if we have the time today, then we can go over this. You know, I think we need to get some inputs from the working group, and you know, if we are able to confirm, you know, from the working group this is all looking good, then I think we should pass it on to the TSC to get it review.
Yeah, that'd be good. Let's wait for one more minute. Let's start from the 34. Now you can see, I see the people just gradually joining here. Yeah, I think for today, I see that you guys have one proposal here, and also I probably take like 5 minutes to quickly talking about I plan to have I put a couple of the interns to working with Donna and Jeff. So we call the summer of code from the Alibaba side. Then the third one, basically, I see the Gongjian from Alibaba have a proposal to talk about the enhancement. So basically, we probably start to tackling, like say, how we set up the communication between the FRs, SONiC and kernel, how we doing it. I think last time that also Donna gave a very good suggestion. So let's probably have some discussion on that. I see that's all. That's the three topics in my mind. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has other topics you want, or next time if you have some more topic, we can just shoot in the email. Yeah. I see like a Venkata from the Dell or like Stephen, anybody like later on, if you have some topic you want to discuss, probably you can just raise that in the group. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in that case, we can get started with the proposal that you have from Alibaba, and we can target for, yeah, and then we can actually, the remaining time we can spend on the FRR grade proposal from Adam.
Okay, then I start first. Okay, sure. Let me sharing my screen. So everyone can you see that? So, I give a little bit of background. This is the summer, and for FRs, previously they have the Google Summer of Code. I see that they have 20, and then I have some interns also. So I was thinking that it's a good opportunity. We could find the list of the projects, and I talked to the Donna Sharp and Jeff Tensura, and they willing to helping to to say, hey, give us some guidelines to see what problems we want to attack and how to attack on the high level. So then I was founding like 6 interns so to starting this one. So we get some code done. So optimizing our FR, SONiC, whatever Jeff and Donna thinking is needed for these 12 weeks. So I was thinking that from since I put the Alibaba as a summer officer, because right now the Alibaba put the money down to hiring that 6 interns. That's why I will put that name there. If we thinking that more I will join, I can removing that. So the main idea is still, like I say, this is the open source. So which means only the code which will be committed will be going to the public repo. So there's no private repo, nothing in there. Even I will not give them and my code repo access. So they only working on public repo. So then we will have separate meeting. So working with Donna and Jeff. So then we come with something. So then I was thinking this is a 12-week program. So start the week 3, I will probably ask them, and the mentors from the Ali will basically based on what Donna and the Jeff's suggestion, we come up with a high-level design plan. Then I will let the intern to finishing the coding and the testing and raise the PR at the week 10. Then once we finish everything, then week 12, they can come to presenting it in this working group. So that's a rough idea. For project, I need to talk to Donna.
I have a question, Eddie.
Yeah.
Master repo meaning which master repo? Oh, the BGFRL and the SONiC?
Yes, SONiC, it's direct, mostly I think the work will be in the SWSS, right? So when I say the master repo is pretty much like the public, whatever we merging upstreaming code, right?
Yeah, I think they probably need to plan this into a release, right? Everything, if we try to commit to the master branch of SONiC.
Oh, you mean like raising?
So week 10 is just to raise the PR. Is that right?
What I'm thinking is that because this is just an enhancement, right? So it's just a PR. So if you want to do the HLD, then it'll be a little bit overhead. We can do that also.
Well, no, you have HLD, right? Week 3, you plan to have HLD, right?
Sorry, say it again.
So week 3, you plan to have an HLD, right?
Yes.
So then HLD should go through the review process then.
Yes.
And then week 10, you plan to raise PRs, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you probably, and then week 12, plan to finish committing to where?
Committing to those repo, right?
Yeah. Then 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, finish committing. Is that the?
That's what I was. If they don't finish it, Ali will not paying them. They will commit. Go ahead and take whatever the time they do the committing.
Maybe I think more realistic would be commit to their private fork, right? Yeah.
They will, right? Eventually they will, or because raising the PR, they're already in the private fork.
Right.
I know where you're going. I think like at least they do the present for final raising, committing to the, say for example, SWS will probably take more time.
Yeah, I think there's to finish committing that will be merging into SONiC branch. That will be, I mean, that needs to align with the release process, right?
Sure. Then I probably just let them raise the PR, the committing, let them like do it once the time is ready. But I will, because for me, I will only pay them up to the 12. So then they will become an individual contributor to push the button at that time. I feel they should be open.
Yeah, I think Eddie, it's a very good idea and suggestion. Thank you for putting it forward. However, looks like we do need some groundwork to be done. I remember we talked about it in the beginning itself.
Yes.
But I would say that the code changes have to come from both SONiC as well as FRR.
Yes.
Right. And these two work groups have to decide on a few things before, these folks can actually even progress. So
I'm not worried too much on that. I would say like we will probably get, that's why I wanted like Donna and Jeff to help to pick up some like say more like say self-contained. It's not like say for example for this one probably a big project. It may not be fit for the intern for the 12 weeks. But for some of those projects, probably will be good. Let's say, for example, Zebra to the FR flow control, those probably will be the small, like I say, enhancement, which is good for the projects.
Yeah, in that case, all those code PRs should be raised in the FRR community rather than SONiC FRR.
Yeah. That's why I would say like I have two repos.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not all the commit going to the SONiC. It's both FR and the SONiC.
Correct.
Yeah. Because we pretty much need for routing to working, we need both. Yeah. So that's basically my proposal for like I said the one. So I was really depend on the Donna and Jeff to help me to steering those interns. Yeah.
So I would say Donald is already here. The question is, there is another weekly FRR work group meeting that happens. So those design discussions, which are very specific to FRR, I'm not sure whether those should be happening here or in the other meeting that Donald runs.
I will let Donald to suggest on that. If either way is fine for me. I just need some place to do the sync up.
So from an FRR perspective, the very fact that I'm coming and talking to the interns and working with Eddie means that from a design perspective, things are okay. Nothing I'm proposing here is going to be controversial in any way, shape, fashion, or form in the FR community. I'm not worried about that side of it at all.
Okay, good.
It's the way I would characterize this is that these are known issues that no one has had a chance to really work on yet. And I don't think what is being proposed here is going to be no one's going to look at it and go, what the hell are you doing? It's all going to be, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you very much.
Good.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Donna.
I have a question. So yeah, thanks a lot to Donald and Jeff volunteering as advisor. But the scope of the change, is it gonna be mainly in SONiC or FRR or both?
I would let the Donna to pick. I would say it could be both. Most likely with both. Right.
So probably we might need more SONiC. I mean, for those interns, they probably don't have SONiC experience.
No, they don't. So this is the more like first time to helping them to.
So for the people who are advising or mentoring them, they should be SONiC people. I mean, they should have experience in SONiC, right?
That's the people from my team, which are, like I said, veteran in the SONiC.
Oh, okay. So actually, the project does have mentors who are already working on SONiC quite a bit.
So
oh, okay. Okay.
What makes you say that I haven't done any SONiC work?
No. I'm just wondering. Yeah, because here it didn't mention. Okay. Yeah. I think we probably will
give the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I echo this guy who give the money here, and this is the to volunteer for the advisory for my interns, and I have each of them I assign one full-time for my team. And so I have the mentors aligned up, so they can they did the code for both FR and SONiC, so they are fully well prepared.
Yeah, because I think for anyone who's new, they definitely may need someone to go to quite
Yes,
frequently,
yeah,
who
that's
are already working on SONiC, right?
yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I would say I just using this word like interns help, and maybe like plus my mentors help, which and solving some problems which Donna and Jeff which can list and helping this community. That's the main goal.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say like if anybody else want to like throw in some interns or like I say that'll be great. We can put this as a joint effort. Yeah.
Would there be some prototyping efforts in between?
What do you mean the prototype?
Like I mean in terms of milestone, right? How do they measure the make sure that the coding is in the whatever work they've done is in the right direction?
I think I will let the Donna and Jeff to make the judgment. He has a weekly meeting with my teams, right? Would that be okay? Or if anybody want to join that meeting, I will send out that invitation to everyone also. Yeah. But for now, I will see that I just don't want to like, or I can periodically like get someone to present in this one between the week 3 and the week 12. Today, I think we have like say 9-week gap in between two, so you will not see what they're doing, but Donna and Jeff will see them weekly. Would that be okay?
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just don't want to like spend, like I say, drag everybody's time, especially for this weekly meeting. I definitely don't want to like spend too much time unless they're ready, because Donna and Jeff will volunteer to spend some time to helping to solving the problems. Yeah. Good.
Great. Yeah, this is great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think whatever is the proposal for everybody's benefit might be a good idea to actually come and present here in this meeting.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's why I would say like it would be good like we get an agreement to what we did. So that's why I want like once the maybe next week once like Donna like finalizing the list, see what we do, then we can probably have a quick think early next week, and for next week in the weekly meeting we can talk about that one again. See what the content in this like the internship program.
I think anything we try to merge into master branch now is actually a good time, right? Because for 2023-11 is calling for content right now. Yeah. The next major SONiC release. Yeah.
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 I mean, like, sure, we can decide, like, say, if some of them, I would more like say, this probably I don't know, like I say, once like Donna decide what to do, then we see that how big, maybe we can put all these 6 commit together as one of the enhancement and merge to the 11, 23.
I mean, 11. I just a reminder. We don't need to decide here right now. Yeah, but yeah, I think they can think about it, and yeah.
That's good. That's definitely a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay, I'm done here. Then maybe Hassan and Adam, you want to go next?
Sure. Let me share the screen. Hope you guys able to see.
Yeah.
All right. So we have some discussion last week regarding the FR upgrade process in SONiC, and also what is the process to taking the vulnerability and patch fixes. I think currently in the SONiC community there isn't any set guidelines or process to do this, and then Hassan and myself actually went back and put together a proposal. This is a recommended process that we want the team to review in the working group, and if everything goes well, then we can also have it to review by the TSC, get it passed by the TSC as a formal process. So for SONiC, the FR upgrade, this is the history that I've collected in the past for the FR upgrade during the SONiC releases program. So so a little bit explanation about the color code. So the green ones are the non-patch release. So these are either a major version or minor version or patch version. Either a major version or minor version upgrade. And then the yellow one is the one that we actually did a downgrade because of some issue that was faced. And on the right-hand side, the release program are marked. For example, 2019-06 is actually a upgrade, going from 602 to 701. Release 2019-12. This is going from 7.2 to 7.2. Sorry, so from 7.1 to 7.2.
Is it 2019-11?
Okay, so you know what? I actually went back and then looks like they mark it as 12.
Really?
I could be wrong. Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I know that earlier we were doing 05 and 11, right? No, sorry. So 05 and 11 was actually introduced much later, but earlier releases, they are on 06 and 12.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it is. So so if you look at historically, for some of these releases, for example, 2012, this is a minor version upgrade, and then another major version upgrade happens in 2020-06. This goes from 751 to 822. Yeah, again, I mean, it seems that it's mostly on need basis or so. I mean, there isn't a set guidance in terms of the cadence and so on. And then this is, pulling out from the FRR project. These are the FRR release program. I'm tracking this, back in 2021, going from 800 to all the way to 851. So each of these set of release, basically the cadence is like, every 4 months, I think FRR project will have a release. Some of them will have a larger set of commits. Of course, the patch release or the minor release will have a smaller change. And actually, I do have a question for the folks in FRR. So between the release program, right, the major or minor release program, I mean, is there any differences between the test requirement, or are they all the same test requirement? They have to pass 100% of a certain set of tests?
Yeah, we have a set of topo tests that get run.
So it's, I mean, your release requirement will have to pass 100% for these topo tests, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, thanks. So I'll update this. And then,
and the other requirement that you need to be aware of is that as we have a requirement that as someone writes a new feature, you have to write a topo test for it. So we don't accept new features without topology tests. So as you see the version numbers increase there, the what has to pass gets more complicated, because we're also having people come up with, as problems are found, people are writing tests to test those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that comes to the other points that I'm trying to see, because, again, gauging on the risk and the change set and stability of these FRR releases. My thing, in fact, what Hassan and I was thinking about is probably, staying at the minor version release, or instead of going for basically the ACE. Okay, so for example, if you look at July 2022, we have the 8.3 release. This one has about 1,000 plus commits. And then follow-up, we'll have a August release, which is the 8.3.1, smaller set, and then 14 fixes. I mean, if we are to recommend SONiC program to do upgrade, I think it's probably more stable to go with the minor release update rather than going into a major release update. Would that be, I mean, is there any thoughts, any inputs on this?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
I have a few things here, Adam, actually.
sure.
So personally, I was not very sure that what is the criteria to bump up the major version. So Donald, can you please comment on that? For example, if you look at the size of the commits, it may not be the only reason. There has to be something which is deciding when to bump up.
So we have 3 releases a year, major releases a year.
Okay.
So if you look at it, there's 8.3s in July, 8.4s in November, 8.5s in March. And then if you go back and past, 8.1 is in November again, 8.0 is in July. So it's July, November, March.
So is this fixed?
Yes, that is fixed. We have a release in July. We have a release. In fact, we're working on the 9.0 release to go out in July right now. And then, T-minus 6 weeks before the next release. So we'll have one in November next. And 6 weeks before that, we have a schedule of, no more pull requests that have features are accepted in for this time period, just to let things stabilize a little bit and not take a feature really late in the cycle. And then we just do bug fixes for a while, and then we pull the trigger and send the release out. And the minor releases are kind of ad hoc. They've gotten a little bit, I say that a little bit, maybe with a little tongue in cheek. They've gotten more rigid as time has gone on, mainly because we've gotten a bit more rigorous about making sure bug fixes that come in get pushed back into older releases as well. But we don't have we're going to release a 8.4.1 or 8.5.1 or 8.5.2 on any given date. It's just kind of when we go, oh yeah, we've had a whole bunch, or this is an important bug fix, let's pull the trigger.
On a need basis.
Yeah, it's just, and the other thing we also, if you look, SONiC's on 8.2.2, but there's probably another 40 or 50 commits on the 8.2 branch that SONiC could pull up that we haven't pulled an official release on. And all that was just as people were fixing bugs, we go, oh, we should put that in that branch, and we just never pulled a release on 8.2.2, the next 8.2.3, I should say.
Hey, but Donald, but so you mentioned people need to write the test before they could commit, right? Like it has to pass the test. Is that right? Or so for example, no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think so you mentioned there's already a lot of commits into the 8.2 branch. It's just that you didn't pull the release, but could we assume that I mean, let's say if somebody actually needs, then it should be safe to use that release if you pull that release because it's already passed all the tests when they are committing.
Yeah, that's that's the whole point of continuous integration, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm just confirming because I think the traditional companies will go through a lot of testing before they pull out a release, right? Yeah.
Well, let's take a second and talk about, I think there might be a little bit of confusion here about how open source works versus.
Yeah, I know. I mean, SONiC doesn't do much. It's also continuous testing as well.
Yeah, but we don't have.
Yeah.
The FR team, the FR group, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't have someone whose job it is to test releases for us. There's no scope for that. So all we have is the set of tests that people have contributed to the system. And we have no way of, like a traditional, like take Cisco, right? Their release cycle was when they go to release, they start handing the whole system to a group of testers, and they go test this. And you have these new features, go bang on all of it. We don't have anyone who does that for each of the release. What we do have though, is that like for NVIDIA is like when we go and write a new feature for like EVPN, say, we have our internal guys bang on that, our internal version, but then we also take those patches that were that feature and we've backported them or upported them to the FRR upstream. So the FRR team. So there is some level of testing internally from a company perspective, but it's not something that's released to the community per se. And it's that's not unique to NVIDIA. That's like 6 Windows, the same thing. VMware does the same thing as well.
No, I agree. So you're saying that the same test which runs on every CI, every commit, is the one that is, a candidate for making a release as well. There is absolutely no test requirement when pulling the trigger that yes, this is the time actually to do the release.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, from my perspective, if I have a known breakage, why am I even letting it go in otherwise, So that's when this is what we got. So it's if I send in, like, we don't accept pull requests that break our topology test.
Okay.
Right.
Correct.
So and I'm not going to allow someone to pull in a commit. We're not going to pull in a commit that breaks the topology test because no one's ever going to fix it then. And we're going to have a whole series of broken tests.
Correct. Exactly. So, so in that manner, when you have to make a release, we just actually go and say that, yes, this is the day, this is the time when I'm going to actually say that, yeah, this is the, this is the release.
Exactly. And we don't play games like, oh, we're going to hold this release because this new feature is coming in a couple of days. Okay. And I've played that game in the past, and all it ends in is pain because I can't. I can't make someone actually finish their code, especially if they're not. If I don't, I'm not their boss. So we tried that one time, and I'm never going to do that again. We have dates, and if your code makes the date, that's great. If it doesn't, next one.
Makes sense.
Hey, so then, Donald, I'm just looking at, before July 2022, the version. Ended by Sabrina Carpenter on Spotify. Sorry. Siri trying to answer my questions. Okay, so before July 2022, in fact, all these releases that I noted over here, there isn't any, I call it patch release, right? The .c. Basically 8.0.0, you go to 8.1.0, and then there isn't any follow-up on 8.1. After you go directly into 8.2.2, but then after
we don't drive right into 8.2.2. There's an 8.2.0, there's an 8.2.1, and an 8.2.2 in this case. I don't know why this, I didn't put this slide together, but there's definitely was an 8.2.1 and there was an 8.2.0 release as well.
Okay, then I'm just going from the project page. Then maybe that is not shared over there. Okay,
there was clearly an 8.2.0 release. I can't, we are a group of people who are volunteering to maintain those upstream pages, and sometimes mistakes are made, is what I would actually say. But there was,
I know what you mean.
There's an 8.2.0 release. I can guarantee you that.
Okay. All right. Okay, cool. That solved the mystery.
So Adam, I think, it's pretty clear now, and thanks to Donald for explaining the process. For SONiC, whatever we decide, whether it is for every release we upgrade or every, once a year, we might have the specific version in mind, or rather the date that we know that we have to pick for the SONiC, because these are very consistent and deterministic or predictive dates from the FR side.
Right.
I have a quick question. So Donald, how far back of a release will you guys still commit bug fixes to? Right. So
Last two releases.
Last two releases. Okay.
Yeah, so we would just be forever in backporting, and I don't want to be involved in making that right, because code moves on. There's and it's just a lot of work to backport.
Understood.
So that was, I put my foot down on that one. CVEs get a little bit different. We'll go and put them in a whole bunch of releases, but it's kind of hard to, I don't have a hard and fast rule on that one so much. And we won't necessarily pull a release, but we'll be on the branch for the person if they want to go pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a slide that we want to discuss about CVE, so let's hold a thought for now.
Yeah.
We should actually
Yeah.
visit that point. Okay, so let's move on. So the proposal, for SONiC to line up with the FR release, the proposal that we have is actually to rebase to rebase FR in every November release. And as we discussed, and it's better and actually safer and more stable to stay with the patch release. So the FR upgrade in SONiC will require these set. I mean, this is a proposed set of test requirement. But feel free to let me know if there's anything else that you guys think we should implement as well. The bottom line is that the Astro pipeline, build test, RGTM. There will be a SPY test, SONiC VS support that coming out in the 2023-11. This is something that the Broadcom team is actually trying to contribute. It will be a SONiC VS test is more of a control plane test. There will be some L3 related test suite. And I think this will complement some of the existing tests in PTF as well, and so this will give a little bit more code coverage on that perspective. And in the
one question
so,
here, you mentioned is the SPY test instead of PY test. Is that you intentionally say I only do the SPY will be good, or?
No. The second bullet over here, the SPY test, SONiC VS. This is a new one. This is a frame. This is a new one. Yeah. This is a new one that will be contributing to the community from Broadcom.
Yes, I know, but the question is like a lot of existing test is PY test, right?
Yeah. I mean, the existing tests in PTF will be part of the pipeline anyway, right?
Oh, okay, gotcha. So you are saying like
the first one.
Oh, the first one, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, the second one is actually more of a complementary towards the Azure pipeline build.
Maybe there's still a question from the community, meaning the first one is from the PyTest for different modules. So yeah, so basically today I guess the PR tests don't run SPY tests, right? So then
yes, it doesn't.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, how do we maybe it's also a consideration how to whether we should also enhance to have these layer 3 control plane in the build test.
Yeah, in fact, I did spoke to Ying a while back, actually probably a month ago, because we actually did a demo to him about the SONiC VS SPY test. And if everything, I mean, but of course, the infrastructure and test suite is yet to upload. So once we went up there, I do want to have Microsoft take a look and see whether there's something that you want to integrate into the pipeline, or because he himself actually want to have some complementary tests to go against the current existing Azure pipeline.
I
so
see.
Again, something that we will work it out. But I mean, again, right here, I just want to point out as a proposal, if this is available, then we can utilize that as well.
No, I mean,
Okay.
so one question I had is because the spy test has been in existence for now almost 3 years. I mean, and only
Is it-
yeah,
let me answer this. I know what you're talking about. So the spy test framework has been up there for a while. As a matter of fact, this is actually a new framework that allows the spy test to run on SONiC VS. It's actually a very, very simple test. Well, I mean, the framework actually simplifies a lot, and then it doesn't require a physical node to run it. It's a server-based run.
agreed. No, my
yeah.
question was not that. The
Oh,
question is
okay.
like, that's why let me actually ask you.
Sure.
It's been there for 3 years. There have been only 2 major commits to it, and both commits have only come from Broadcom. So is there really a community is planning to embrace spy tests? I mean, I'm fine. Actually, I do like the scripts on both sides, but what we have seen is there's, except for Broadcom, we have not seen any other contributions over there. I did have this chat with Ying also multiple times. I mean, we do use the spy test infra, but internally we used to run for some of the things, but we have not upstreamed anything more because we have not seen anyone out in the community use that much. So the question, as what someone else also asked before, is because you can also do, if it's plain control plane tests, there are pure control plane tests even on the PyTest infra side. I mean, there are for the various BGP and routing features. So what is stopping us from adding any new content? And the other PyTest already runs with SONiC VS. So why not just use that? Or what else this new infra or suite will bring in, and what gap it will address?
I don't want to turn this into a debate between the two tests suite and so on.
Going
But
to say
then
the
bottom
same
line
thing,
is that.
Adam. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Adam, that we already have a test work group, SONiC test work group meeting every Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah.
Every other Wednesday.
Every other Wednesday.
every other Wednesday. Yeah, and I think can bring this topic more detail in that work group meeting. For this FRR upgrade, I would say that the moment the spy test is activated, it should be there in the CI pipeline itself, and there should not be a need of actually running this explicitly. Maybe you can move on from there.
But I agree the principle here it's good actually. If there is an upgrade, there should be a test suite that needs to be passed to decide on the upgrade, right? Yeah, that's your principle or proposal here, right?
Yes, and again, I mean, more tests is always better than less. And of course, between the current PTF versus the spy test SONiC VS, what additional value that can bring, again, that will be something that we'll have to discuss over the test community. And if we can move forward, then in fact, the other thing is I want to point out is that during the last FRR upgrade, which has ended, we actually also did engage some manual sanity. Basically, it's a manual bring up test on a phone topology. We found that it's actually useful to at least just sanitize it. I'm not sure we should put it into an official process.
Yeah, I mean it's not actually a formal process that way, but yes, I think we are anyway talking about this in the next slide when we talk about the steps and procedure for upgrade. So yeah, the idea here is before even somebody can should create a pull request, it makes sense to go and validate as part of the unit testing. It has to be done beforehand. Visually somebody should see that things are working before even they go and upstream it. That's the idea.
Exactly, and this is at least how we done it last time. Yeah, go ahead.
Correct. Yes.
Has there been any consideration of submitting tests to the FRR topologies and of the SONiC use case? And what I mean by that is if you have important features to SONiC that you want to ensure that are still working correctly from an L3 perspective, why not just write the test inside of the FRR test suites? and submit it upstream so that the FRR community takes on the responsibility of making sure that important feature to SONiC stays working.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, if we did find any issues during the SONiC FRR integration, I mean, it will be even more important to have a test case, topo test, so that we can make sure that we fill the gaps. And yeah,
Correct.
that is definitely a process that I think we should actually call it as a process as well.
Yeah. The idea of these tests is anyway to make sure that the integration in the SONiC environment is working fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other more test requirement suggestions?
Yeah, the thing I wasn't too sure is how today whether the tests are sufficient to focus on the FRR and SONiC integration. Like, yeah, maybe that's something this work group can review.
But that one probably will need to be put on the SONiC side, right? Because the FR doesn't know what the platform will be, right?
Is this no? I mean, this is a SONiC routing work group. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would say like for the whatever, like the FR and the SONiC integration, it should be on the SONiC side, because the FR is mostly with the pop test, which is only for the protocol level.
But sometimes FRR upgrade. It depends on what is being added, right? So, are we confident that the existing test or just the control plane test can cover something that's more specific to the interface between FRR and SONiC? That's my question. Let's say between, yeah. I mean, I don't have the answer. I'm just raising this as a question.
So Rita, I mean, that's the reason that I want to call out at least we should have some manual unit test sanity on the topology. But apart from that, the PTF test has model topology, right? So there's T0, T1, and T2, and some of these are actually traffic related tests, right? They're not entirely just control plane.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
No, some of
I would say
BGP ones are control plane tests only. If you see under PyTest, it's not that everything uses the data traffic. So if you see some of the routing scripts, I mean, they are pure control plane is also present in PyTest.
correct. And what I was trying to say here is that, as part of the PyTest, we are anyway going and making sure that the AppDB entries are populated correctly with the correct next hop, correct route and VRF. And that is a good test. I mean, if you can see an entry in the AppDB, at least from the FRR integration point of view, things have been integrated well.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, because I think like at least a minimum like this kind of the PD, as long as we can check the ASIC DB, those things, that probably will be a good starting point.
Yes. And those are already built into the PyTest.
Yes.
The PTF.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, then the proposal is that because now that it's going to be a yearly FR upgrade, and I'm calling out to have the repo maintainer of the FR. So current FR repo maintainers are Broadcom, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Dell. Of course, we would like to take any other contributor into this as well. Basically, the role is that we want to have the organization to handle the upgrade. Apart from that, there will be also additional responsibility after that upgrade. For example, I listed out here after the upgrade, you will have to resolve any of the upgrade, test issue, work with the FRR community if this is something that we need the FRR community to help. And I think Donald also did mention, if there's any issue we find, we should actually also add a test case in the tuple test submitted to FRR. That will be something that we should also consider.
You could
Apart from that,
like Alibaba
yeah.
there in the second bullet as the
Sure.
report, especially like
great.
we will upstreaming the SRv6, so we need to rely on the FR also.
Sure, perfect. Yeah, I'll update that.
Yeah. So
And
you count on us because the moment you start to cherry picking it'll be the big burden, so we can sharing those effort.
exactly, that'd be great. Thanks. And then, so the release maintainer will also be responsible for bringing any FRR vulnerability and critical patches to the SONiC. The next slide is going to talk about that a little bit. Okay, so this is kind of the role that I want to iron out. Now, okay, so vulnerability and patch upgrade. So after the version upgrade in November, we have to monitor for the CVE fix. So Carl, I think many of you already know. Basically, there's a NIST Gov. Basically, they identify CVE into different ratings, medium, critical, and highs. So they have different versions, CVSS version. So the latest version currently is basing on version 3.x. And my recommendation is to say, okay, if there's any critical or high CVEs that is marked for FRR, we should definitely bring them into the SONiC program. Okay, so the hyperlink, I will send these slides out. The hyperlink will give you a list about some of the historic critical and some of the historic high issue was logged over the NIST.gov. Okay, and I do have one question. I'm not sure anybody knows about it. Is there any regular security scan in the SONiC program or FR project?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
You do? Does that turn into an issue in the beginning?
Yeah. There's we have people actively working on it. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
And then internally in Microsoft, we also do the security scan of the, but that's more on the binary. Yeah, but yeah. But
Okay.
in terms of static code security scan, there's someone doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
I see the Stephen Noble added like a couple of the links in the chat. It seems like this is for the Bamboo build dashboard. What that is for the FR release, right?
Yeah, so what I'm just pointing out there is that when we talk about testing FRR, all of this happens automatically, right? So you can see that for the 8.5 branch, which is the one that second link I posted, you can see all of the different tests that were run against it, what tests passed, what failed. You can even see, for the upcoming 9.0 release, what's being pushed and what the builds are failing or passing. You can see what platforms we build for. We build for Debian, we build for these different architectures, right? And you can kind of go through there. And so I think partly when we talk about, submitting test cases, looking at adding things that are SONiC specific that would go into these test cases, then they would just automatically get run. And then contributing to open source just in general, if you push things, like if you push a fix up to the Linux kernel, then it becomes the responsibility of other people who work with the Linux kernel to make sure that your thing doesn't break, right? Whereas if you don't push it, then nobody knows about it and they can easily break it. And so I think that there's just a couple of points that were made.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks. Now, regarding patch bug fixes in between releases, in between the SONiC releases, I think currently most of them, most of the patch upgrade are on need basis. I'm not sure we should set a standard guidance in terms of how and what to bring in between releases. But if the team has any inputs or thoughts, feel free to let me know.
I feel like if it's only the vulnerable or those things will be part of the critical when we probably do the, like say, aggressive patching. Otherwise, I will wait for next release.
Right. Of
But
course,
I-
if there's anything break in between the releases, and then it's deemed important to bring in, those will obviously be patched.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I'm not sure if there's any standard guidance, but if not, that's fine. Okay. Hassan, do you want to discuss about this?
Yeah, I think we have only 5 minutes left, so let me quickly go over these. So I've tried to list down the steps as far as I could remember from the last upgrade that we did. So there are a few things which are required from operation side as well as from the the coding and testing side. So operation side, in the sense, we have to create a SONiC FRR target branch, for the corresponding FRR version. This I did not do it. I requested Yanzhou from Microsoft. Also, SONiC build environment actually uses specific paths. It does not actually go, majority of the cases, it does not go and pull it from the actual Debian site. The reason is that some of the sites from where we are pulling the packages might be down, or they may not have much reliability. In that case, those packages also have to be uploaded to a common place where the other SONiC packages are uploaded. So for example, libyank 2 upgrade happened as part of the previous FRR upgrade. So we had to upload those libyank 2 packages at the common location. Then, yeah, so next steps are like update the submodule, which is like changing the submodule version for the corresponding SONiC FRR in SONiC. And for the code changes, it varies. If we are not having a new package, then there are no new make files required. Things should be very smooth. So the SONiC FRR, I have anyway listed, mentioned those PRs which were created as part of the last upgrade. Anyone who is, taking up responsibility for, say, the next upgrade, they can go over those, which are pretty, obvious what changes have to be made. Now, as part of the patches, I can think of only 3 categories. One is the patch has to be carried over. So for whatsoever reason, as part of porting the patches, we don't decide whether to take this or not. Anything which existed before and the code has not already been committed into FRR, it has to be carried over. I mean, we don't get into a debate where, whether this patch is really required now or not. It has to be carried over because we don't want to break anything existing. However, it may happen that, say, partial changes are present and, the other changes are not present. In that case, some due diligence is required, some manual merge, maybe follow up with the original person who uploaded that patch. And once those patches are ready, yes, go ahead and build it, verify it. And this is where I was referring to that manual verification is anyway required. So make sure that FRR version is correct. Things are coming up, Docker restart, nothing is crashing. And look at the primary things like BGP, VRIP, VNIPU for IPv6, and just see if things are really working fine. If everything good, go ahead and create a PR.
Can I make a request for the patch process? I was looking at the patches and there's absolutely no comments about what the goal is or what it's trying to do. And that leaves people coming at long after in a hole of trying to figure out. And I think a little bit requirement to document what the goal of why we're keeping this patch and what its goal is and and what we hope to do with it would be very useful.
Agree.
Sure. Yeah.
I just have the question on the manually verified portion. Why is it needed to do manual verify if there is test case for it? I mean, automated test case. Let's say, if not, then yeah, I could understand. But
No,
is there,
so Rita, I mean, see, it's like this. This is anyway always there, right? I mean, whether somebody is, I mean, you don't want to push and create a PR without even checking whether things are really working fine. What if the upgrade itself did not happen? Right? Somebody just made some changes which actually did not reflect, and the FR version is still the old version, and all the tests are passing. Right? I'm just bringing up those hypothetical scenarios. So some visual testing is anyway required, and pretty much
because I feel this list could grow, right? If
yeah, so I'm not.
And then
I'm not
also the FRR, the person volunteer to do this may or may not be really understand how to test EVPN, right? For example,
correct,
or
correct.
VRF, right?
Correct. Yeah, I think we can trim down this list. We can keep it, say, only say BGP, VRF, IPU for V6, and then leave it the rest for the for the automated test.
But isn't that in theory, if the PR test can have these test cases there, then can the PR test cover that? I mean, until then yeah, I agree. Manual test is needed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Until then, yes.
Yeah,
And
all right.
I can suggest a few test cases. For example, every time somebody is upgrading FR version, there should be a test in SONiC that verifies whether the FR version is what we're expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are like 2 minutes over the time already. So
Yeah, sure. Let's
let's do a time check.
Sure. Yeah. So I think we're done with this. Yeah. Thanks, Sam, for going over this as well. And I guess the next step is I'm gonna send that slide deck. I'll find a way to share these slide deck with all of you.
You could, if you don't mind,
Google Drive.
You can put the Google Drive or post it, or there's like I say, we have the group wiki in the SONiC Foundation, right? So you can upload the file.
Yeah. So if I cannot do the Google Drive, sure, then I will upload this. Then from there on, I think people can basically put their comments and review this. And
I put the link for the files because I already uploaded the kickoff slide and show as a SRv6 use case slide there.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you can upgrade it, I think Hassan definitely have the right
I can upload.
Okay.
Them.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. So then let's do that. I mean, we'll have this upload, and please review this, and share your comments. Then we can upgrade. We can update the slides with the new version.
Maybe next meeting, let's use the first 5 or 10 minutes. Let's get consensus for this proposal, then we present it to the TSC.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so that will be good. That's a good proposal. I think I think glad, like I say, the Donna Sharp, like I say, point out there's a procedure missing there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. Then maybe for the next week we'll have the proposal from the Gongjian to see how we do optimization. So that's just first draft. So we'll probably do it next week. Yeah. We ran out of time already. Yeah, good. Okay. So that's all for today. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.